What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. And yes, welcome back to yet another Impulse video. I decided to make another Impulse video because Impulse has officially gone into early access. And with going into early access, 1047 has added a few new bits of content here and there to the game, on top of making balances and checks to the game too. So I thought I'd go over all that stuff with you on this video, and also talk about my first impressions and thoughts on the early access launch. So without further ado, let's dive straight into things, and I wanted to start off by talking about the balances, nerfs, and buffs. So, the general movement and speed of the game, the terminal wall run speed has been buffed from 1600 to 1800, so that's nice. The grapple hook's terminal speed has been buffed from 1800 up by 50 to 1850, so that's also good. They're paying attention to the grapple hook more. We all saw this next one coming from a mile away. The hammer took a big nerf. The hammer's player damage got nerfed from 100 to 75. The hammer's mech damage got nerfed from 250 to 200, and on top of that, the melee time for the hammer got nerfed from 0.850 to 0.595, for those of you that love those specific decimal numbers out there. It still does have the ability to one-tap kill as long as you bullwhip someone with it. And by bullwhip, it's essentially whenever you use the grapple hook and you latch it onto an enemy and you let it follow all the way through, it automatically pulls out your hammer and hits them with it. So in that way, the hammer is still a one-tap kill. But if you're swinging wild, you know, trying to just bash their heads in like a whack-a-mole, then, you know, it's going to be a two-tap no matter what. But if you manage to grapple them right beforehand, then boom, bullwhip equals one tap. Moving on, we have a buff for the Volta assault rifle. The bullet's homing speed from 20k up to 22.5k centimeters per second, or per 2 seconds, I think, if I'm reading the formula right. Forgive me if I'm reading the formula wrong. And nerfed its bullet homing acquisition angle from 14 to 12. Actually, that second one was a nerf, so one buff and one nerf for the Volta assault rifle. Then we have a nerf on all paint. All paint cooldowns have been nerfed from 10 seconds and been bumped up to 12-second timers. And now this next one was a bit of a shock to me. But the speed paint took a nerf. The speed paint got nerfed lifespan wise from 20 seconds to 15 seconds. If you're using the perk that helps the paint out with duration, it knocks it down from 30 seconds to 22 seconds, so it lasts about 5 seconds longer with the perk attached. Its effect expiration time has been knocked down from 4 seconds to 3 seconds. Its max speed and max acceleration multiplier has been knocked down from 1.7 to 1.65. Its thrust acceleration from 1.5 to 1.0 flat, and its initial boosted speed has been knocked down from 2k to 1500. And the final balance check is to the mech's minigun. It took a buff. The refire rate went up from 0.0 seconds to 0.1 seconds to prevent spam firing faster than intended. And that pretty much takes care of all the nerfs and buffs balances wise. So now I'm going to basically give you my first impressions on all of that. Take everything I say with a grain of salt, because this is just my personal opinion. Obviously, I don't think everybody feels this way. This is just how I feel about all the stuff dropped with early access and the early access launch in general. Alright, so starting off with the new map, Drainage. Drainage is not a fun map to me. It's certainly more open height-wise in terms of movement, but aside from the 2 or 3 massive pillars, the center of the map is way too open with no real way to duck or cover on your way across the map. So a lot of the traffic tends to always stay around the edges of the map. And I think that kind of just like gets really stale and predictable after a while, and then you just have constant firefights going on across the map, but no one ever moving through the middle of the map. I think map design is going to be a tough challenge for 1047 moving forward, because all of these maps feel like they want to be big Titanfall sized maps for that freedom of movement, but because it's an arena shooter, they have to feel like the size of arenas. Not that arenas can't be massive, obviously there can be massive arenas, but the maps will always feel either out of place or incomplete to me personally because of the size constraints. Instead of making the maps taller, they need to be made wider by design. My next little form of input for the maps is adding a map selection and map veto instead of being given a random map to play on every time. Titanfall didn't have a level veto system, but Halo and Black Ops 3 did. In any online shooter, the best thing you can do for the players is give them options. Let the players in the lobbies decide what levels they want to play on. Alright, so how do I feel about mech hunters? Honestly, the same exact way that I feel about Capture the Mech and just how I feel about the mechs in general. Any game mode centered around mechs feels pointless to play until they fix the mechs. The mechs in their current state, they're basically made out of cheap China plastic. Even with all those mech perks, all it takes is 3 to 4 players to concentrate fire on you while you're in the mech at the same time, and you are cooked. Hell, even just one player can take down a mech with the hammer in 9 swings. The one place the mechs are an actual issue is during the control game mode. If the enemy team controls both mechs, they will 8 times out of 10 camp the capture zone with both mechs, and it doesn't make it impossible to beat, it just makes for very super annoying meta, and it's not very fun to play. Please remove mechs from the control game mode 1047. Another little form of input that I have is I don't really like keeping max experience gain locked behind keeping all game modes selected. It feels way too forced when not all game modes feel balanced in the first place. Specifically, all the game modes that involve mechs. So replace that system by adding specific quote-unquote happy hours and more of those daily gigs, but daily gigs for experience and not for credits. Excuse me. And add weapon challenges. All of that for extra experience, or make temporary experience boosters, quote-unquote, available for purchase on the broker tab with in-game credits. My thoughts on the hammer nerf, I'll keep it brief. The hammer definitely needed to be nerfed. It's now 2-tap instead of 1-tap kill, but you can still 1-tap kill if you grapple an enemy for the bullwhip. If you keep the Martial Elite perk equipped, it kind of makes up for the damage decrease because it gives you more range for your melee weapon, and it also gives your melee swing a faster cooldown too. So, the Volta Assault Rifle balance patch is a miss for me, just because the Volta is a miss for me in general. I don't really use the weapon a whole lot personally, so I wouldn't be able to give an opinion on whether or not the gun is any better or worse now after the patch. Speed paint getting nerfed definitely caught me off guard. Speed paint is the most commonly used way to gain momentum in the game. So it makes me worried that they chose to just slightly buff the movement physics, thinking it would offset the noticeable dent they put into speed paint by dropping its duration last by 5 seconds and having its just like overall speed multipliers lowered. Some honorable mentions while we're on the topic. Even though it is my favorite paint, I can totally see explosive paint being next in line for the nerfing block in the future. It's slowly starting to see a rise in popularity on the game, and when paired with kill refresh or paint upgrade, it can be pretty chaotic for a paint choice. So yeah, I definitely see that getting nerfed at some point in the future too. Now I will finally address my elephant in the room, the addition of the Requiem quote-unquote sniper rifle. Now I will start off by saying 1047 had a perfectly good sniper rifle in Splitgate. Actually, it felt a lot like the Halo sniper rifle, which is one of the best compliments you could give someone's in-game sniper rifle. Part of me was honestly really hoping that since this game likes to wear Titanfall's name tag on its chest like a badge of honor, it would have at least attempted to replicate the greatest video game sniper rifle ever created, the Kraber from Titanfall 2, but sadly not. It's definitely closer to the beam rifle from Halo, if anything. So it's an okay addition to the weapons, but Splitgate's sniper rifle was better. And having a one-shot sniper rifle definitely would have been the best option. Alright, my final thoughts on Impulse Early Access are... the game's okay. Obviously it's early access and the game literally just launched, so of course it's still gonna be pretty bare bones. There's a lot of work and improving to be done, from balancing out matchmaking to be more casual friendly, to adding more content like new maps, new modes like a forge mode, new paints, new weapons, etc. They could stand to update the bland, overly industrial art style with some color. They could switch out the generic sounding free-to-play shooter soundtrack with a more consistent and more fitting orchestral soundtrack akin to Halo or Titanfall. Add an actual movement tutorial mode for all the players who are new to movement shooters. They could add one back tap melee assassinations from Halo. That'd be pretty fun. A popular one in the community right now is the outcry for having aim down sights for all weapons. I know everybody wants that right now. There are quite literally so many things that 1047 can do with this game. It's all just a matter of if they will actually continue to listen to the community and the fans and deliver on those hopes and wishes for the game. Overall, I would say hold off right now on early access since it's not a free-to-play game. Unless you're just a slut for movement shooters, then by all means come slut it up on here with the rest of us. If you enjoyed this video and found it at all entertaining and informative, please leave a like, and as always, subscribe for more Impulse and FPS content. Later, guys.
Mission complete.